I knew something was wrong before I opened the door. My mom only hosted big family dinners when she wanted leverage. Food was her excuse. Control was the reason. The house was packed. 30 relatives, shoulder to shoulder. People I barely spoke to anymore. People who didn't call, but somehow showed up for this. The smell of roast chicken hung heavy, mixed with old perfume and tension. My mom hugged everyone except me. She kept smiling, too calm, too pleased. She said, "Family is everything," more than once. Each time, it felt like a warning. I stayed near the wall with my photos. Not fancy things, just proof I existed. Graduation, a small work award, one old picture of my dad and me fishing, back when he still talked to me like a daughter. Lacey stood across the room, arms crossed, watching me. My sister didn't smile. She already knew. Dinner started quiet, forks scraping, plates passing, a laugh that didn't fit. Then my mom stood up and tapped her glass. Silence fell fast. She said she wanted to clear the air. My chest tightened. I'd heard that phrase before. It never ended well. She walked to the photo wall slowly, picked up the first frame, looked at it like it offended her. Then she dropped it into the trash. Glass cracked. No one moved. My dad stared at his plate. Lacey looked away. Frame after frame disappeared. Finally, my mom turned to me and said, loud and steady, "Why should we honor someone who takes and gives nothing back?" That's when I understood. This dinner wasn't about food. So why invite everyone? Unless she wanted witnesses? No one spoke. Not my aunts. Not my uncles. Not even the cousins who used to sit next to me at holidays. I stood there while my photos sat broken in the trash, like they had always belonged there. My mom kept talking. She said words like lazy and ungrateful. She said she was tired of pretending. Each sentence landed, then waited. She wanted agreement. My dad finally looked up. He didn't raise his voice. That was worse. He said, "You've wasted every chance we gave you." The room stayed quiet. Lacey stepped forward. Not to help me, to block me. She said I was embarrassing the family. She said I should leave before things got ugly. That word stuck with me. I looked around one last time. 30 faces. Some curious. Some relieved it wasn't them. No one said my name. I bent down and picked up one photo. The glass had cut my finger. Blood ran down my hand, slow and bright. My mom noticed and smiled. That's when I knew. She wanted this to hurt. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I walked to the door. Lacey opened it and said, low and sharp, "Don't come back until you fix yourself." I stepped outside. The door closed behind me. And for the first time that night, the house went quiet. But I didn't know then. That silence was about to scare them. I didn't go far. I sat in my car with the engine off, hands still shaking. My finger kept bleeding. I wrapped it with a napkin from the glove box. I thought about going back inside, not to argue, just to get my things. But I already knew how that would end, so I drove away. That night, my phone stayed silent. No apology, no check-in, no regret. The next morning wasn't better. My mom sent one message. "You embarrassed us." Nothing else. I didn't reply. I went to work. I kept my head down. I didn't tell anyone what happened. That was new for me. By the third day, the anger faded. Something colder took its place. I stopped waiting. I canceled the family phone plan that was in my name. I changed the streaming passwords. Small things. Quiet things. On day 5, my dad's number flashed on my screen. I let it ring. Then Lacey called. Twice. Then again. I didn't answer. On day 7, my mom finally left a voicemail. Her voice was softer, careful. She said there had been a misunderstanding. She said families fight. She said we should talk. I listened to the message once. Then I saved it. Not because I missed them. Because I knew something they didn't yet. They thought I had walked away with nothing. They had no idea what I was still holding, or how much they were about to lose. The second week was different. My phone didn't rest on the table anymore. I kept it face down. Messages stacked up, not angry ones, nervous ones. My dad texted first, then again, then again. Short messages. No insults this time. Just questions. Are you okay? Call me. We need to talk. Lacey sent one message. Just one. Mom's really upset. I didn't reply. I went through my apartment slowly that night. Drawers. Old folders. A small locked box I hadn't opened in years. Inside were papers my mom never asked about, because she assumed I had nothing worth keeping. She was wrong. There was a document with my name on it, another with my dad's signature from years ago, and a third one that explained why they had always needed me close. I made copies. I didn't rush. Rushing makes mistakes. On day 10, my mom called before sunrise. I watched it ring until it stopped. Then she texted, "Please, just come over. We'll apologize." That word made me smile. Apologize. I thought about the trash can, the broken glass, the way she smiled when I was bleeding. I typed nothing. Instead, I booked an appointment. Quiet, official. No family names attached. That afternoon, my dad sent 70 messages in a row. Not angry now. Panicked. Lacey called 30 times. And finally, my mom sent one last text. "Please, just one chance." She still thought this was about forgiveness. She didn't understand yet. This wasn't about feelings anymore. It was about consequences. I didn't answer any of them. Not because I was scared, because I was preparing. The appointment took less than an hour. No raised voices. No drama. Just papers sliding across a desk. The man across from me read everything twice. Then he looked up and said, "They assumed you didn't know." I nodded. Most people don't expect the quiet one to keep records. When I walked out, the sun felt brighter. Not because I was happy, because things were finally clear. That night, I sent one message. Not to my mom. Not to my dad. Not to Lacey. I sent it to the family group chat. 30 people. Every witness. I kept it short. "I'll be stopping by this weekend to collect the rest of my belongings. Please make sure no one interferes." No anger. No explanation. The replies came fast. Questions. Confusion. Sudden politeness. My mom called immediately. I declined. My dad sent one line. "What is this about?" I didn't answer that either. Instead, I printed the copies. I placed them in a folder, neat labeled, impossible to ignore. Saturday came faster than they expected. When I pulled into the driveway, every car was already there, just like last time. But this time, I wasn't surprised. They thought I was coming back alone. They didn't notice the second car behind me, or the reason I finally felt calm walking up to that door. Because this time, I wasn't the one about to be exposed. The door opened before I knocked. My mom froze when she saw me. Not angry, not proud, nervous. The house looked the same. Same table, same wall. The trash can was gone. Everyone was there again. Aunts sitting stiff. Uncles standing too straight. Lacey near the stairs, pretending to scroll on her phone. My dad didn't move. I stepped inside. No one spoke. I walked past the wall where my photos used to hang. The nail holes were still there. I set my bag down gently. "I'm here for my things," I said, calm, clear. My mom nodded too fast. "Of course," she said. "We'll help." Help. Now, she used that word. I went to the hallway closet, opened it, pulled out one box. Then another. My dad finally spoke. "We should talk first." I shook my head. "Not yet." That's when the door behind me opened again. Footsteps. Slow. Heavy. Every head turned. Lacey looked up sharply. My mom's mouth fell open. The man stepped in and stood beside me. No smile. No rush. He said, "I'm just here to observe." The room changed. My dad stood up too fast. A chair scraped loudly. My mom whispered my name. Not like a warning this time. Like a plea. I opened my folder. not to show them yet, just enough so they could see the edge of the papers. And for the first time, they realized something important. I hadn't come back to fix things. I had come back to finish them, and they still didn't know how bad it was. My dad tried to laugh. It came out wrong. Short. Thin. Nervous. "This is unnecessary," he said. "We're family." The man beside me didn't react. He just watched, like time was on his side. My mom took a step closer to me. Her voice dropped. "Sweet now. Let's not do this in front of everyone." That word again. Everyone. I looked around the room. Same faces as before. Same witnesses. "I agree," I said. "That's why they're here." Lacey's phone slipped from her hand and hit the floor. She didn't bend to pick it up. My dad asked the man who he was. The man answered calmly. "I represent her interests. Nothing more." I opened the folder fully this time. I didn't rush. I let the sound of paper carry. My mom recognized the first page. I saw it in her eyes. She shook her head before I said a word, like she could undo years with that motion. "You weren't supposed to have that," she whispered. I met her gaze. I was never supposed to be nothing either. The room felt smaller. My dad sat down hard. Lacey backed toward the stairs. No one interrupted, because they finally understood something. This wasn't a fight. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a record, and records don't forget. I hadn't come to argue. I had come to make sure the truth stayed standing. Long after I walked out, I didn't read the papers out loud. I didn't have to. The silence told me they already knew what was written there. My mom sat down slowly, like her legs forgot how to work. She kept shaking her head, over and over, whispering, "This was supposed to stay in the family." My dad looked older all at once. His hands rested flat on his knees. He didn't ask questions anymore. Lacey finally spoke. Her voice was small. "You wouldn't really do this, would you?" I looked at her, at the same sister who pushed me out the door. "I already did," I said. That's when my dad stood up again. This time, careful, controlled. "We can fix this," he said. "Money first, then promises." The old pattern. The man beside me cleared his throat. "Fixing it was an option," he said. "Before witnesses. Before records." That word landed hard. Witnesses. I picked up my last box and zipped my bag. My mom reached for my arm. I stepped back. "No more chances," I said. Not angry, just finished. I walked to the door. No one followed me this time. Behind me, I heard my mom cry out my name. Not loud, not dramatic, afraid. I didn't turn around, because the truth was already in motion. And unlike me, it wasn't walking away. The calls started before I reached the end of the street. I didn't answer. By that night, messages were coming from numbers I hadn't saved. Aunts, uncles, cousins who never checked on me before. They all said the same thing, in different ways. "Let's talk. Your mom is sick. You've made your point." Made my point. Like this was a lesson. Like this would end with hugs. I muted the group chat. The next morning, my dad left a voicemail. His voice shook. He said people were asking questions. At church. At work. He said someone had requested copies. That word again. Copies. Lacey texted last. No anger this time. Just fear. "Mom can't sleep. She keeps saying she went too far." I stared at the message longer than the others. Then I locked my phone. What they still didn't understand was simple. I wasn't punishing them. I wasn't trying to win. I had already accepted being the villain in their story. But systems don't care about stories. They care about facts. And once facts leave the house, they don't come back. 3 days later, a letter arrived. Official. Heavy. Final. I opened it slowly. And for the first time since that dinner, I smiled. Not because I felt good, because I knew something they didn't yet. The real consequences hadn't even started. The fallout didn't come all at once. It came quietly, in pieces. My mom stopped calling. That scared me more than the shouting ever did. Then my dad sent one short message. We need to meet. No apologies. No anger. Just that. I agreed. But on my terms. Public place. Midday. No surprises. He showed up early. He looked smaller. He told me the family was confused. He said people were choosing sides. I didn't interrupt. Then he said something that finally made sense of everything. They thought you'd never use it, he said. They thought you'd stay quiet. There it was. Not love. Not disappointment. Expectation. I told him I wasn't coming back. Not for holidays. Not for meetings. Not for peace talks. His hand shook when I said that. He asked what I wanted. I said nothing. That was the part he didn't understand. I had already taken what I needed. Before we left, he asked one last question. Soft. Careful. Was it really that bad? I thought about the trash can, the broken glass, the way my sister pushed me out. Yes, I said, and for the first time, he didn't argue. The change spread fast. I didn't see it, but I heard about it. Whispers turning into distance. Invitations stopped. Group chats went quiet. My mom stopped hosting dinners. Lacey moved out of my parents' house within a month. No goodbye. No explanation. People started asking me careful questions. Not about the papers. About her. How is your mom doing? Is she okay? I gave the same answer every time. She made her choices. One afternoon, I found a box on my doorstep. No note. Inside were my photos. Every frame replaced. Clean. Careful. At the bottom was the fishing picture. I held it longer than the others. That night, my mom sent her final message. I didn't think you'd leave for good. I didn't reply. Because leaving wasn't the punishment. Being remembered for the truth was. And they all knew now. Every time they sat together in silence, they would remember who caused it and who finally walked away. Those papers weren't secrets about the past. They were instructions for the present. My name was on something my parents needed to keep their life stable. And without my quiet cooperation, everything they built could be questioned. I don't hear from them anymore. Not because they don't want to reach out, because they don't know how. My parents still live in the same house. Same table. Same walls. But no one fills it now. Relatives stopped coming over. Too many questions. Too many looks. My mom avoids public places. Church stores. Even old friends. When people see her, they don't ask how she's doing. They ask what happened. My dad keeps his head down. He lost more than he admits. And Lacey? She tells people she doesn't know where I am. That part makes me smile. I didn't disappear. I just stopped carrying their story. I hung my photos again. In my own place. On my own wall. Nothing fancy. Just proof I existed. And still do. Sometimes I think about that dinner. About the trash can. About the witnesses. My mom wanted everyone to see me fall. Instead, they watched me stand up, quietly. And now, every time my family sits in silence, they remember the night they tried to erase me and failed.